Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Game of Thrones stream. We're talking A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, Episode 3, The Squire. I'm your host, Ronan Unchained, and folks, please, for the love of God, go watch this episode because we are going to be talking spoilers today, and you're going to only be part of this conversation, especially from the perspectives that I have with my other friends in here. But before we get started, as I've been doing these past few weeks with my streams on my channel, I am eager and pumped to talk about all and anything nerd, pop culture related, geekum, but I shall not ignore what's happening in real life. Much like Sir Duncan the Tall, I have my morals and have my codes, and I am hoping for the best. First of all, the safety of everybody on the East Coast, in the Midwest or Mideast, with the weather going on. But for everything that's happening right now in the U.S., that's I think sadly going to be affecting the rest of the world unless we get our shit together. For anybody who doesn't and aware of, I say fuck ICE, or as Green Day would say, chinga la migra, and free Palestine. And hopefully things get better because if not, I'm going to be really fucking pissed. And I don't want to be pissed. I really don't want to be fucking pissed. But to prevent from me getting pissed, I do have a couple of friends of mine who have experienced A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. Brent, Jake, how you doing, boys?
Doing good. How are you? To that list of verbs that you gave there in the beginning, everything related to forces, I'll throw onto that, and I'll just say Magneto was right.
Oh, I love that. That is a perfect connectivity between culture and I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, boys. Again, everybody, last call spoilers. You've been warned. And we have actually a couple of comments already. Teague O'Neill saying, I thoroughly enjoyed the adaptation changes, this, even though it's 3%. And for me, at least it is a better of the 3 series set in Westeros. I can't wait to see if it gets a full run. Nice. All right. I respect that. Hey, everybody. Hey, Cameron Walker. And as it relates to Duncan Egg, the consequences of doing the right thing for the right reasons. Exactly.
Yep.
Welcome to Game of Thrones.
That fits in with Game of Thrones. There are no morally sound characters in this universe.
Yeah. Waiting for the ball to drop.
Exactly. Folks, you can see my immediate reaction and reviews of the episode on my channel, but I want to hear from the boys because I remember Brent mentioned me like, yo, what the hell? And I'm like, just you wait when we talk about it.
So wait, first, let's just talk about your reaction. Yes, I watched your reaction last night after I watched the episode. Straight away, I was like, I need to know. So go check out his reaction because I'm pretty sure it's the same reaction that all of us had that had no clue whatsoever that's coming in. Because
dude. I was so glad I didn't read the book, dude. I was just like,
I'm glad. That's the thing. I do say I am glad that I do know nothing about this show. I never read the book. I never read any of the Game of Thrones books or any of the House of the Dragon. So I haven't read anything related to any of this. My first experience is always probably going to be a TV show or a movie or whatever they do in relation to these stories. That being said, I have been enjoying the last 2 episodes, this slow kind of pace introduction to these characters and build up to letting a ball drop. And, we won't go too much into that right now, but I will say that in this particular episode, I very much have been enjoying, I'm really enjoying, and it's well earned, the relationship between Dunk and Egg at this point. They really have nailed it. But the actors, obviously the writing, which I believe is very close to straight out of the book, so I can understand why it's very popular, why people enjoy this particular story. But it really has nailed that dynamic that you would want to expect to see in a first season of the Game of Thrones, new series. And I'm excited. I'm anticipating to see where these it's 3 short stories, is it, guys?
Yeah, as of right now, there are 3 short stories out for people to go read. Right. Yeah.
Okay. That being said, I was so close last night to jumping on Wikipedia and knowing Egg's future but I didn't. I decided to hold off because I know we're going to get some sort of storytelling. I have no idea whether story 2 and story 3, which is probably going to be season 2 and season 3, I have any relationship to this particular set of characters. I would hope so. I don't know enough about the Westeros characters in between Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon, which we are currently living in. I don't even know how long or how far behind we are from Game of Thrones to this time period exactly. So, I don't know if it's 50 years. I don't know if it's 150. I don't know where we live in that world. But that being said, holy shit, what an ending.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We are 90 to 100 years before the events of Game of Thrones season
that
1.
I didn't. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. Oh man, I want to see more. Jake, how did you feel about episode 3 of A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, The Squire?
So, kind of to go in a similar way that Brett was talking about, us being at the halfway point in this season, the relationship dynamics between Dunk and Egg definitely feel a lot more earned now. And I feel like this was, and granted, I haven't seen the season as in its entirety, but with where we are at the season, kind of at the midpoint, it felt like the natural time to go into, more of Egg's lineage and what we later learn with that. But this episode just did it continued what I loved about the last 2 episodes, where in addition to the great character dynamics and the just really clever dialogue between the two, it filled out more of the world. It added more to the lore that I have become more invested in again than I have been in a while, because I loved some of those early Game of Thrones seasons and that first House of the Dragon season, and I'm slowly starting to feel like I'm getting as excited to be in that world again as I was back in those days. So that's kind of a nice feeling. But also, just as somebody who went to college and studied film and production and set design, the cinematography and sets were beautiful in this episode, and that's been the case for the show to a degree, but I especially noticed it in this episode, just how well it was produced and put together. The narrative flowed at a nice pace, all building up to that ending. Wow, that definitely got a reaction out of me. I'll say that much, but we'll dive into that more. But yeah, those are kind of my thoughts there in a bubble.
Nice.
Actually, can I just
please?
I was just going to say, on addition to your feedback there, Jake, the camera work is very small and very tight. You don't see the town, you don't see the width of how big this place is. And as a production design, I'm a production designer myself, so it is just a small setting in a open location. But if the camera work does its job and it slowly opens this world to you, by this point in time, you can start to see, you see the full streets, you see the full, you're traveling these areas, and they're starting to do that. And it's very exciting to see unfold.
And there are tighter frames, tighter shots in this episode compared to the first 2, but it doesn't feel isolated or self-contained. It still feels like it's part of that world.
Yes. Yeah.
I agree. And I think one of the things that starts off immediately, again, simple, small section, is waking up and seeing that Egg is already thinking about the journey and prepping his team with the horse.
Yeah.
And I love that, even this whole notion of where he comes from and his background, that which we'll reveal later, is that his family said that horses are stupid. He doesn't think that way.
Yeah.
And laying down everything that's at stake with this horse. And I love that the horse is not dumb. He's smart. He nods at him a couple times.
There's more too. I'm glad you brought up the thing with Egg, is what we were talking about with the how it relates to the larger world. I really got a lot out of one of the first few things in the episode where they're on the hillside looking down at the tents, and Egg's like, I think I could like it here, and that just felt like characters reacting to the world, and it's those little things that I appreciate so much about this.
Yeah. But now it fills together the pieces. Now that we know at the end of the episode that backstory, I think I can go and watch these 3 episodes again and have a completely different perspective on Egg's perspective now, and that's part of it too. It's like you really can. He's a totally different character now than what you preceded him to be. And now to fill those pieces in, you want to go back and revisit, because it really feels like now I'm seeing it through the eyes of that perspective.
Right. But it doesn't feel as though they've done a 180 with the character. This feels like the same character you've been following.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
And I love that, again, he's laying down everything at stake. It's like, yo, if we don't win this, you and I are gonna be gone. Not just Sir Duncan the Tall. So like, let's get our shit together, and him training him like practicing the time he'll give Duncan the stick, him riding off the horse. And again, I love that like it's setting a notion that like this is part of Westeros, but this is not House of Dragon or Game of Thrones, because the first command he gives the horse, the horse lets out his morning stoop and be like, all right, I got a shit to do, and like literally shits out a little bit. And I was like, all right, I'm good to go. And I think we were alluding a little bit to this moment that we'll talk later, but like I love that even when all said is done, that Sir Duncan wakes up and he's like, where you been? He's like, next time don't wander off without telling me. And he threatens to be like, do what I'm telling you, I'm gonna like slap you. And there's a moment of hesitation between Duncan and just like tells him about like sewing, and like and he says, shouldn't that be my job? Like, do you know how to sew? And what did he do instead of punishing him or slapping him? He teaches him how to sew. And I thought that was a genuine good moment of like their relationship has just gotten way bigger than it has been in the first two episodes.
That this episode was definitely full of those character moments between them that I like. That moment of teaching them how to sew, the one that you get later in the episode where they're like imitating one another's voices. I was laughing a lot at that part. And like the dynamic between those two, it just feels real. Like you've gotten to see it grow, and I really like that.
Even in the opening shots, when he wakes up, Egg's waking up, and he's like, does that little? It's like, are you waking up yet? Are you, are you awake? Can I wake you up? I need to be doing something. I need to be out there. And it's like, well, he's not going to wake up, so he takes matters into his own hands, goes out with the horse, and so there's that stuff. And I just found that very funny and really charming. It was great.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it cuts to later that like they get, well, this is be later on, but like them even having like a moment just to eat was so endearing. And again, it takes a while to forget those moments in Westeros, especially where we've been focusing on. So like the notion that just happening right now, it's like this, and I guess people might be wanting like, we want more action. We want more action. I was like, no, this is just as powerful as any slug or gory or duking out that we'll eventually get. Is that? Do you guys like these quiet moments that are just enhancing not just the character but the vibe of this show and making it
go for it.
I was just gonna say I really love these moments because if I'm being honest, the action would fall pretty flat if these character moments weren't there, because you wouldn't care what happens to these characters if you didn't have time to grow with them or just follow along their arcs and their narratives. So I feel like you need these character moments to actually make the action mean something.
Yeah, completely agree. On top of it, it's like you can have these character moments in a show, whether it's this show or any other show, and have poor writing, and it's not going to be interesting and it's going to be boring as hell. Or you can give it very fascinating development and writing and still have these moments and just nail it on the head. And that doesn't always happen. You could have the same situation in a totally different show and just be totally crap, because of the poor writing. So it goes back to the writing, I would say, from the book that nailed it. Obviously, again, where what people liked about the books. So.
I agree, and I love that like we make our way to. And again, it says so much about how they notice stuff from each other that like you see one where they are getting breakfast, they're getting the goose's eggs, and you see Ansell and like you see Duncan trying to be machismo and be like, and she's like, your shit will be ready soon, and then come Egg and like. And like, shut up. I love that moment because I'm like,
such a kid moment too.
Yeah, I was like, I noticed you like her, why not? And just like, oh,
right. I that's piggybacked greatly off of last time where he's like, what was the line last time where he is like trying to impress Tanslo, and he's like, well, you're better than the other option. I forget the exact word, but he was just making fun of him. But it's carried over into this episode nicely.
Yeah, the whole thing of tallness, or like the notion that like you must be, you think I'm silly. You think no, all men are silly, all men are knights. And I love that. And again, it's just the whole beginning of this episode is just them bonding. Seeing the turn play out, and we get to this moment that you alluded to of just like a peace moment of like, wow, this is it. Like we could do this for a long time.
Yeah.
And him saying, one day I want to come back as a hero, and I want to get the second prettiest princess of the land, of the Lord's land. And I love that even Duncan was like, second prettiest. We're like, well, you would get the first. And it was like, my man is a wingman. My squire is a wingman already. And it's just like so enduring. And again, him asking, could I be your squire after the journey at the tourney?
Yeah.
And you sense that like he says, when you get your focus on, you're a hell of a worker. And he was about to say, when we get over with the tourney, if I make it, you can be my squire. But he gets interrupted by the master, game master, and trying to tell him like, yo, we want you to throw this tourney away. And it's very, again, not surprising, but it's gut wrenching because Duncan does tell him like, I don't want anything I haven't earned. And like that's part of the pride, that's part of the honor. I was like, I gotta earn it. I can't just give into it.
There's integrity there,
yeah. And again, these 3 episodes, you're realizing, and he is realizing himself that he doesn't know that much of the rest of the world. Like he's heard the stories that like Sir Alan the Pennytree tells him, but like it's one thing to live it and know it's like, oh yeah, it's not as simple as I've heard these tales and people mentioning of the land. Like there's more. It's almost like a meme to say that, but there's a groundness to it. There's also a thing of like, oh no, honor, that's supposed to be the thing, but like you have to meet it head to head before you can actually sense any honor among this land. And that goes to, again, the tourney, and you see that I believe his name is Aemon, Targaryen, riding off and wearing a badass suit that, as far as I remember reading the book and I think seeing graphic novel adaptations, is kind of close to design as I could see.
Really
going about that and like making a dirty move and killing someone's horse and whatnot. And you see how that, you would think, again, later on when we revealed it to y'all about Egg's history, how much that would make, you would think that wouldn't affect him, but it does affect Egg of like no, that wasn't an accident, that was an intentional thing. And how did you guys feel about the Targaryens, another presence of the Targaryens making their notions set in the tourney?
Well, going back to Egg, because his excitement for these games, there were warning signs about where it was going. We just never picked up on them. But it was interesting that was that character that, after stabbing the horse, that it changed his perspective again, or we saw him change his perspective on what the enjoyment was all about to, this is just wrong and I'm really upset about this. And it was a trigger. It was absolutely a trigger mechanism that happened in him. And you saw that, again, without knowing any contents in the next 10 minutes from now. It was interesting to see that moment because when it goes to, the whole joust scene, and it was just, he played like those characters do. He played dirty. He, didn't like being swooped on from the, whatever, when the other jouster dropped his lance and all that sort of stuff. But it really was, it was cool. Sorry.
And that effectiveness on both Duncan and Egg, because Duncan saw, he's like, he's too low, and like Thanos are like, wait, they're playing dirty? A knight, someone who's of the royal like blood, plays dirty? That's allowed? And even to see her point, Egg says, kill him. And it's just like, and again, when we get to the review at the end, like there's hints at it all across the episode.
Oh, totally. Oh yeah.
I'm glad I didn't catch on to them, because now rewatching, I'm like, you sons of bitches, you're laying it right there. Like, like, who was your father? You know this about this. You had experience doing this and this and whatnot. But how do you feel about it, Jake?
Well, just to go back to what you were talking about before with the whole thing about Dunk wanting to get all of that stuff his own way, not take anything he hasn't earned, and get honor in his own right. That, I think, first of all, sends a really compelling real world message to it, because because whenever kids are growing up, they hear a lot of stories about things that adults did in their, we'll say, glory days, for lack of a better term. But kids hear those stories and they go, "Ooh, that sounds cool." But what a lot of kids realize is that when they get put into those shoes, whenever it's their time to go out into the world, that stuff doesn't just fall into their lap. They have to earn their own right. They have to make their own name, and they have to live their own life. It can't just be under somebody else's, and they have to build it from the ground up. And that's what Dunk wants to do. Like, he wants to live under his own name, not be defined by his own lineage, make his own mark on the world. And I really like that part of it. With the whole notion of Egg's lineage, I'm glad that but they don't spoon feed it to you. They don't say, oh, like, I was this person's missing son, even though you kind of know where in the bloodline he falls. I'm glad they don't say it right away, because I really don't like when television does that, like when they don't let the audience member figure something out for themselves, because it just undermines the intelligence of the viewer. And so far this show has been really good about that. Where it doesn't treat the book readers, it's not just repeating a lot of monotonous information to them. From my friends that have read those books, they're like, no, I'm really loving this too. But also for new people, it's not spoon feeding a bunch of exposition to them and treating them like morons either. So I appreciate that part of it. So the way it's handled so far, I've really liked.
Yeah. Actually, can I add to that? With the time of the episodes are around about 30 minutes long. We could get 45 minutes to an hour long episodes like Game of Thrones. But the reality is, if they were that long, we're going to get drawn out of any of this. I think the 30-minute limit for this sort of piece is perfect. And as much as I want to see more, I know that if I get more, it's going to be gluttonous, and I'm not going to be as invested in these characters if they drag a scene out longer than it has to, or they say more or do more than than is expected in that story. So I think that's what helps make this work too.
Yeah, if we hung out with like the prince, the Hand's brother, while they're doing their search, whatnot, I'd be like, okay, why the hell are we bothering that? Like, no, hone in on this, and just a few worth of dialogue says enough of setting that motion of like what's happening on the outskirts of their lives in this tourney land and whatnot. And we see that the next day, or I think it was the next day, after the whole incident with the Aemon, that you see the boys. Again, let me through it. I think someone said in the conversation that like Lionel is now the second Baratheon character they've ever cared for. I appreciate that. And again, another moment of like Lionel is having another party in the middle of the day, probably drunk as hell, and you see them talk about a lady who was crippled, who was disabled. Fuck, I don't even know how to phrase it, but pleasuring men anally, and you have this again very bizarre, like weird of like Egg looking at it from the bright side, like maybe
just like a Baratheon.
This song is about hope and honor, and it's like, and even like Dunk's looking like, what do you mean honor and hope? It's about fucking somebody sodomizing guys in the ass. It's like, what? And I know, like they like, and him like they can't even give her her real name. They can't give her credit, and it's just like I love that they made we've had poop jokes, we had dick jokes, now we have anal jokes, and there's a sincerity surrounding that dialogue, that interaction between them.
It doesn't feel forced.
No.
It's probably a bad way to phrase it, but it doesn't.
Something like that would be brought up in attorney, because around the environment, something like that is bound to be said or discussed and whatnot. Which then leads us, I think, to in the outside of it, Duncan and Egg still talking about this, and they meet I don't want to call her a gypsy, but like someone who can read your fortune and says that like you will be you will not want for fame and glory, but you'll be richer than any alliance. And him saying thanks, being like, oh, okay, I've heard this shit before. Okay, do the boy now. And her saying, you will be king one day. And I think you will die a horrible death, and people will cheer for your name, and like the look on their like
like people will
what?
feed upon your ashes, rejoice in your death. Yeah.
And then Duncan laughing it off, being like, "All right, cool."
Yeah.
And then like,
so,
why did you say that?
It bothered Egg. Now,
and then Egg's like, why would you say this?
Yeah.
I love that reaction.
Yeah. My first thought was, anyone can be king. My brain didn't even stop to think that he was a lineage. And in your reaction, of course, Ronan, you say, is he royalty? That didn't cross my mind whatsoever at that moment. I don't know why it didn't cross my mind.
And I love that Sam kind of confirmed it without saying it, because he was just like, "Oh," and I was like, I was like, don't tell me. We're almost like 2/3 of the way done with the episode.
Right.
But how did you guys feel about that? Like that hint of things to come, because ever since this episode dropped, and since I had read the book, at least the first story of the book.
That's all I've read too.
There is an event that's well known that hasn't been fully documented to what happened in this, but there's this event. But how did you guys feel about them hinting at this, the future that they might have down the road?
I was going to say that whenever they deal with a seer in Game of Thrones, you take it seriously, because those words have meaning to the future of something, especially when it affects a character's reaction, like it did with Egg. It was like, oh shit, this is actually something that's going to happen, and he is going to be in this position. And then my next immediate thought was, that is so tragic. It is so tragic, because I love who this kid is, and I want him to have this life, and whatever's going to happen down his path is going to lead him to be that person. And that's just the way it's going to be in the Game of Thrones universe. And my first reaction was absolute just shock of tragedy. It hit me as much as what the ending reveal did in some ways. I was like, oh man, this is so sad. Because he's not going to get what he's searching for right now. And it looks like he's got a clear path to keeping this world, this reality. And now I have questions. What's going to draw him back? Do we get to see it in this show? Do we get to see it in a future book? Do we get to see it in a future story? I don't know. I don't know where it leads. So, yeah.
How about you, Jake? How do you feel about it? Do you think it's spoilerish, or you're like, no, that's just inevitable?
I mean, I honestly think it further connects the world and the overall narrative together, that you get, a pretty strong indication of where his character is going to go down the road. And they don't say, like in this year and this day. So it's not like you have a definitive timeline for it. Like they leave it open enough to where you're like, oh no, okay, we know this is going to happen eventually. We don't know how, we don't know where, we don't know when, but we know. And that's almost worse than if you were to know when and how. Because then, as somebody that's looking at all this, and even I imagine for Egg himself going forward, he's probably going to be a lot more paranoid going forward, and that'll probably add to some more interesting dynamics between him and Dunk, because Dunk's not really taking it seriously. He just kind of laughed it off, whereas you can tell it really unsettled.
Rock,
So,
And we make our way, because I think Dunk meets his best friend. I gotta learn that dude's name.
Is that Raymond? Is that his name?
Raymond. Yes, Raymond. And he's like, "This is Raymond," and like, "This is Egg," and like, "How you do, sir?" And Raymond's like, "Hey man, let's go have a drink. We make it ourselves." And Egg's like, "The puppet show," and so they go their ways. And in the midst of this, we're seeing that like Egg is seeing this show about a knight slaying a dragon. And it's Tanzo as the knight, and it cuts to the back that like, they're having this conversation of honor and code, and also political views. And you see them how, but Egg thinks that like Aemon did it intentionally. Isn't that a little crazy? He's like, why? He's like, and he talked about like how the Targaryen incest is cursed, like they're down to do this, and like calls them what they've done, and calls bullshit on them, and being like, dude, they've robbed our lands. They rule like this, and insults him like, the only thing how good Targaryen is finished on his fucking wife or whatever he said. And you're thinking like, oh yeah, we're all having fun at this tourney, but we know what's happening on the real world.
Yeah.
Like, dude, don't think it's all black and white. There is gray and blood all around it.
Yeah.
Like there are no black and white characters here. There is gray everywhere.
Oh yeah.
And which then leads to the ending of this play, and we see Aemon watching how the dragon is being slayed.
Yeah.
And you're going, oh shit. And again, Dunk is taken aback by all these point of views. And then Egg rushes to calm, like, sir, she's being attacked. And I'm not gonna play the scene out, but we see that her finger snapped. Which then snaps Duncan to like pencil and kicks the living shit out of Aemon. Two punches, bro, and
a kick. Yes.
And
being held up by 3 or 4 of his guards. It's like
holding him back.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, and then like after all that goes down, you have Aerion all bloodied and battered, and he's like, "Why did you throw your life away for this woman or whatever?" It's like,
and
then he says, he's like, she's not worth it. She's a traitor, and then Dunk is like, the dragon never loses. My God. What finisher of a line that is.
Yeah, that's Aemon's line of like, no matter what the play is, we always win. And it says like, you broke my teeth. I want to break all of them. And I fall them down. And I'm about to hold them.
That was the moment. Okay, can I say something here? I was going to say that was the moment where I thought, oh, this is where the challenge is about to happen, because it's like Dunk, to stop this from happening, it should be able to challenge in battle. That may still happen in the future week, but man.
Yeah, and
was I wrong?
He keeps asking, "Who am I going to face? Like, who am I going to face?" Like, he answered, like early on, I was like, "I need my."
Well, they built into that.
Yeah,
but you didn't expect it.
Yeah,
to play out this way. Yeah,
the whole thing with Egg too. I love how just his whole thing that we've learned about his lineage, that he hears with the fortune teller. That last one of the last lines he has really brings it all together, because he's like, or Aerion is like, what happened to your face, or what happened to your hair? And Egg's like, I didn't want to look like you.
Yeah. And that's when I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. Don't hurt him. And even Duncan says him, like, don't hold your tongue. They're going to hurt you. Yeah. No, they won't. If not, they'll answer to my father. And he calls the guy to hold him down by name. Yeah. And he says that line. And then, I love, to me, killer editing, because, you hear the, and it just goes to fucking point of view of just like
that
boom,
boom, music. That music choice was brilliant.
Again, great production in this episode.
Yeah,
the look on Duncan's face of like, what the fuck did I get myself into?
Right, what? It's like this just got a whole lot bigger.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit. Let's talk about it. Egg is a Targaryen.
Yeah.
How do we feel about that?
It goes back. The immediate thing there was the fortune teller. It pieced together that element and saying, oh, he's going to be the king, and he's not going to be a good king, or whatever it may be. Why he ends up in that situation. The thing is that also, maybe the elements of the perspective of what we hear about this character, what he perceives, may be viewed upon differently in the events that take place. So we don't know. But it sounds pretty bad knowing the Game of Thrones universe that he could become a royal old dick if he had to be, which is a possibility. And again, I don't know enough about it, and I kind of, we're a long way away from that point in history of this universe. But it was just bam, bam, and it literally was flashbacks of this entire episode, piecing together everything that took place, just hitting me like a brick wall, going, oh my God. It was so good.
Jake?
To kind of just go further on to that, we have an idea of, or not really an idea. We know what happens with that lineage down the road, down the line.
Right.
And, just based off Egg's attitude in this episode already, with him saying things to Aerion like, I didn't want to look like you, and then having that power over those guards, that kind of gives you a sense that he knows the things that his people in his lineage are capable of too, and he's trying to break from that bloodied tradition. We know that a lot of people in that lineage aren't that lucky, but and that's what could just make for an inevitable sense of tragedy later on, because I mean, as like a common thing in storytelling, when something good happens to characters, like whenever they experience something's good, that's when you follow it up with something bad. That's how you create drama, tension, fear, and they're already planting the seeds for that now.
I was going to say, we don't know Egg's real name. They've never mentioned it in the show, correct?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
To this point, at least. So interesting. Okay. All right.
And I love that, like, again, you look back at the past episodes when the Targaryen banners show up, it cuts to Egg going like, and it's just like, there's all those moments of like, oh, fuck. And then again, you see him wearing the hoodie and having fun with the play, and then he turns to the left, and there's his brother, and it's like,
that's it. The fact that it's his brother too, it's like, oh my god.
Which is, again, it's a fascinating thing of like, why was he yelling, kill him?
Yeah.
Like, why was he like, damn,
yes. He wanted his
like,
brother dead. He didn't want that in his life. He just wanted it gone.
So separated from sense of blood. And I'm fascinated by what that does to a kid, a human being, let alone a kid.
Yeah.
I have a question, and Ronan, obviously you know because you've seen the next episode at this point in the screenings and stuff like that, screeners and stuff. But I'm wondering if it's going to be Egg who challenges Dunk to the joust, because I'm going to assume it's going that direction, or whether Dunk will challenge what's his name?
Aemon?
Aemon, yeah. If it does go that direction, because I feel like that they're bound to be jousting against each other is my guess. But I feel like a challenge, you know, I mean, I could be completely wrong. I don't know. I'm going to find out probably next week, you know, if that's even the direction it goes.
Or Friday. For those who
Friday,
don't know,
yes, because it is Friday.
Yep.
The episode released that's usually on Sundays at 6 p.m. Or no, 7 p.m. PST will now be moved to this Friday for what I'm hearing at 12 a.m. PST, which is wild. I'm like, I don't know, why would you drop it early in the morning?
12 a.m. Oh,
yeah.
I'm going to be fast asleep.
That's right. I'll watch it on Saturday morning. I'll be free from work. So.
So folks, tune in if you want to know what happens this Friday, because again, without saying anything, oh shit.
Can I just say one small detail in this episode that I loved?
Please.
Yeah, because I brought this up at the beginning, a little more than one, but I brought this up at the beginning of, you know, when you started doing this for things that we wanted to see explored more. I brought up that I want to see more of everything regarding the Blackfire Rebellion explored more. I loved that moment in this episode where you had the ballad sung that referenced the end of the first rebellion. I loved that moment so much. I didn't
see
more of that. I caught that, and I instantly started, you know, getting ecstatic inside. And because you have them refer to, what do they call them, like Blackfire bastards, things like that. Young Egg even like makes jabs at them here and there. And from what I've heard, that whole the lore behind that is explored in the other books that I haven't read yet. I've only read the first story, but I've heard that gets explored later, and I'm guessing the series could potentially dive more into that, and I'm really, really hoping it does.
Same. I think, because I've been holding off on reading the second story. Yeah. I think now, since episode 3 is out, I might continue the second story, and then
watch it.
I can't wait. I can't wait for a year or two for season 2. Like, it is like there's no fucking way I'm gonna wait for that. So I might end up reading story 2, because and again, George R. R. Martin saying that he has like 12 of the stories he wants to tell. He basically has in his head all of Dunk and Egg's life already set, and it's just a matter of like timing and just like writing it down.
Do we know like any? I think you told us back when we started reacting. Story number 2 is is Egg still a child, or we jump forward in time? Are we doing forward time jumps?
I don't know. I really don't know because again, I stopped at the first story, and then that was after I saw this season. I was like, okay, now I'm gonna wait till we're halfway through the season officially to even think how much of a time skip there will be with the other stories, and see and where they're at. Because again, I don't know where they're at by the time we get to the second story. But man, I have been waiting to fucking get to this moment so I could finally talk about it freely. Like, this is the big hint that, and some people called it here and there, but I was glad that a lot of people were like, man, how is this gonna go? And again, it's the whole thing I kept saying of like small town, simple story, but then the looming history of Westeros comes marching around the bend for these two guys going on. And I am really, really happy with how this show's been
same.
Made, received, and from all words of mouth for big Westeros heads, how it's honoring George's word, because he's on record how much he deeply, really, really loves these novellas, and specifically Duncan Egg, these characters so much.
Yeah. I've been heavily enjoying this series so far. It's and I think this episode is probably my favorite of the three so far that we've gotten. I'm curious to see where it goes from here, but also, like I talked about, kind of near the start, I love this episode from a production standpoint as much as a narrative standpoint. Just the way it's produced and put together, the way Brent, you were talking about how those back-to-back shots of everybody that's named at the end when he's ordering the people down. It builds so much tension, and it does it very well.
The one thing we didn't talk about in this episode was the deal with the town's what's his name, the clerk, the
game master. So they pass him when they get the luck reader, the lady who tells them their fates. He sees them, and then he looks like he's waiting for an answer. And then Dunk just tells let's keep going, and he turns and gives him no answer. Like, what's gonna happen? Is he gonna throw away the journey or not? And it's like, how's that gonna play into effect?
That was that's kind of big, because that's asking Dunk to not take a fall, but deal with the process
the family
of
who's running the event.
And now that piece of information is there, that they want Dunk to be dishonest within this category to come out, for purposes of money and winning or whatever it may be. I'm curious if he takes that role, if he even survives long enough to take that role. Does that suddenly make Egg go, well, then even this honest person that I respected can be bought and sold just like everybody else? I'm looking for something different. And does that, change his perspective? Is my first reaction to where it could go. I don't know. I mean, I'm always I'm going to be honest and just to say, no, I'm not going to take the deal.
And what does that say now, seeing the events of the ending of the episode? What is this beat down? Because Duncan does beat down Aemon, even though Aemon has all the guards around him. Him punching a Targaryen, a prince. What does that say to the town folk?
Oh, that's death. That's instant death.
like what does it say? Like, yo, somebody fought back against the crown, the blood relative of the crown, and
that's probably like a whole treason to them
over a fucking play, a puppeteering. Like, how's that perspective going to leave? And so I'm fascinated by the implications. Not just for the characters themselves, but the world and the community that surrounds them. And how's that gonna just make people think of him now or not? Because up until this point, people think he's just tall and stupid. Like silly. Like, he's always bumping his head. He doesn't know his way around ladies. Like, he doesn't know how the whole thing works and whatnot. Like, but you see for a moment, yo, he has a code. Don't fuck with his code.
You can see it. Like, he is seeing red at that point.
Man.
I think when we're closing our stream for tonight, do you boys have any final thoughts? Anything you want to talk about before we say goodbye to the folks?
I'm so excited for next week. That's all I'll say.
I'll say this. This is my favorite episode that we've gotten so far, and I I really hope that the rest of the season lives up to what this episode set up.
Yeah. Spoilers.
Exactly. Muchachos, thank you so much for taking the time out of your night to discuss Game of Thrones stuff. You guys know the code. You guys know the way it works. Let's go around the horn and let everybody, please plug yourself. Let people know where they can find you and show any upcoming updates, anything you're working on. Let's start with Jake.
Cool. You can find me right there, Hedge on YouTube. Lost Levels on Sundays. I had to improvise a little bit this past Sunday because for reasons I won't get into here, I wasn't able to stream from my PlayStation, so I had to get an emulator running instead. We streamed an X-Men Legends game as a little bit of a tease of a game that I'm going to be doing a full-length Let's Play on later this year as we get into the summer and fall months. Then aside from that, Let's Plays, retro reviews, rankings. I've got a couple film-related videos coming out, and I'm being very vague on that on purpose because they're pretty. Not only are they pretty prominent topics, they're ones that I don't want to open the lid on. I'm being vague on purpose. Maybe that's mean. I don't know. It's the way I like to do it. But yeah, other than that, Let's Plays, retro reviews, the like. Trying to see if we can hit that 2,000 subscriber mark by the time of Comic-Con. We're 200 and change away. I really think we can pull that off.
Nice. Brent?
You can catch me at Age of Grogu and YouTube and everywhere else. And basically, yeah, I haven't got anything immediately coming up. I mean, obviously, there's going to be reactions I'll be doing on Star Wars stuff, the Maul series coming up. And I'll do unboxings, which I've got a ton of videos. I just haven't had time to edit. Even during break, I was just mentally drained, so I didn't get the chance to pull that up. So I will start dropping some of that unboxing stuff soon. A lot of 12-inch figures I've been getting from Hot Toys and Sideshow and some really cool stuff out there these days, guys. And then, yeah, I'll be doing some reaction stuff. And I did some reactions to some trailers a few weeks ago. And go check them out.
Beautiful. Folks, that'll be it for tonight. I will be doing my best to manage it to get my coverage of the show on Friday as soon as possible, or as soon as the episode drops. This Sunday is the Super Bowl, so we've been hearing a lot of reports that a lot of people have been leaving the chance to promote their stuff. So we might not get a lot of trailers or TV spots along the way, but I'm pretty confident that maybe something Star Wars related might happen. And who knows, yes. Maybe after the game, I might do a spontaneous episode of the Syndicate, my Star Wars podcast, and I'll probably hit up Brent and the boys, anybody else who wants to talk about it. Be like, boys, Star Wars shit, let's talk.
Yeah,
sure. Yeah,
we might end up doing that, but you never know.
And we're going to do a live stream on Saturday night now because the episode drops on Friday.
Yeah, I got to manage my stuff because, again, we're used to doing it on Sunday, but I think on Saturday, either depending on how you guys' availability is, we'll be doing a Saturday stream right now to follow up the episode that will be dropping on Friday.
Okay.
All right. I'll be around for. If you need to change it, then let me know. But yeah.
About the same time?
About either the same time, maybe a little bit earlier because it is Saturday, and I don't want us to stay up because the weekend and everybody's either wants to go get a drink or something like that.
Whatever. Yep.
Folks, please take care. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, share enthusiasm, let people know if you are a Game of Thrones fans, hardcore book reader, TV series watcher. Let us know. There's these rumors of movies coming out about Aegon's conquest. I don't know what the fuck's going on. When is George R. R. Martin gonna finish the books? Who knows? Hopefully, I'm still alive by then. But until then, take care and